guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nichole Eaton, and today's episode is all about trusting yourself. If you have ever spiraled over a text or reread an email 47 times or asked 10 friends what you should do next, this episode is for you. In this episode, I'm going to break down the real reason you overthink, overanalyze, and undertrust yourself, and how to rebuild that deep grounded confidence that's going to have you saying, I've got this. You'll learn how to stop outsourcing your intuition, make aligned decisions faster, and start trusting your own magic again. We're not waiting for signs and we're not waiting for validation. It's easy and safe to trust ourselves. Okay. I need to call it out real quick because if I had $1 for every time that I said, let me just think about it, when I already knew the answer, I'd probably be recording this from a yacht. But here's the thing, we live in a world that's taught us to trust everyone else. Everyone else knows more than we do. Everyone else is more valuable. Science is more valuable than our gut. We trust the teachers, the bosses, the partners, sometimes even the influencers before we're ready to trust ourselves. And when you've spent years outsourcing your power, no wonder you feel disconnected from yourself. No wonder you're making decisions that don't end up feeling good and don't end up feeling aligned, and honestly, don't usually end up working out for you. But the good news is self-trust isn't something you've lost, but it is something you can build. And it starts really, really simple with one tiny promise at a time. I know that a lot of you are thinking, and some people glorify anxiety, some people glorify overthinking, but overthinking is not a personality trait, it's a safety strategy. Your brain is trying to keep you safe by predicting every possible outcome, by asking people who you value's opinions more than yours to try to create a scenario that is going to keep you safe. But instead of it keeping you safe, what it's really doing is keeping you stuck in fear, stuck in analysis, stuck in indecision. You're not really indecisive. You're just trying to guarantee you won't embarrass yourself or make a mistake or disappoint someone. But that's not confidence, and that doesn't typically lead to alignment. When I'm talking about alignment, what I'm talking about is that feeling inside that it's right for you. A lot of times these decisions lead to self-abandonment. And overthinking is not confidence, it's just control dressed up as productivity. Confidence isn't about knowing something gets to work, it's about trusting that you'll be okay even if it doesn't. Let's talk about why we stop trusting yourself. I'm going to give you an example. If you've ever said, I knew I shouldn't have done that, but I did anyway, congrats. That was your intuition speaking and you ignored her. You ignored her. Most of us are conditioned to disconnect from our inner guidance, right? We want the logic, we want the science, and there is a place for that. We'll talk about that. There is a place for logic and science. I'm not shitting on that. But I want you to value that gut feeling. I want you to value that inner knowing. I want you to value what your body is telling you. And maybe as a kid, you were told you were too sensitive or too emotional or too dramatic. And so when we're embossed with these labels at such a young age, it gets you second guessing everything, including yourself. But here's the thing, I'm a firm believer that your body literally never lies. And I do this discernment exercise with my clients where I help them just tell what is what within their body and how their intuition's speaking with you. So if you're like, I don't really know how to tell if it's intuition or not, you can set up a consult call with me and we can dive into that of how your body speaks to you. But we've all had a moment where our gut said no, but our brain said, oh, well, that makes the most sense. And then boom, the universe is like, you want a lesson? Here you go. But the secret to rebuilding self-trust isn't about taking huge leaps. It's about these micro promises, tiny moments where you say you'll do something and then you actually do it. So it could be as simple and as small as drinking a glass of water you said you'd drink. It's simple and small, like sending the email that you've been avoiding. It could be meditating for 2 minutes instead of 20 minutes. Because when you keep a promise to yourself, your energy becomes consistent and the universe responds to consistency, not chaos. Every time you choose your intuition over outside approval, you're literally reprogramming your nervous system to say, I can trust myself. And that is the frequency, the energy, the confidence lives on. I know that people think that manifestation is just vision boards and good vibes and manifesting money and the house, but true manifestation at its core is actually nervous system alignment. It's the ability to say, I trust that I can handle what comes next, and I don't need to control how it comes. I don't need to control the outcome. So, how does this relate back to decision making? This relates back to decision making is because when we trust ourselves, we radiate the frequency of confidence. When we are indecisive, it's almost like the universe doesn't know what to give you. And I'll compare it to getting into a taxi and being like, well, I could go to the East Coast or I could go to the West Coast. And the taxi driver is going to be like, okay, well, what direction you want to go? Those are opposite directions. Well, what direction do you want to go? And so until we make a decision, we stagnate. Like when people come to me and they're stuck, I always know they're not fucking stuck. I always know they're not actually stuck. They're scared of making a choice and not being able to handle what happens on the other side of it. That's as simple as it is. You're not stuck, but when you are prolonging a decision and you're in the in-between, you're in the hallway between one door and another, there's no direction to go. There's no right move. There's nothing that you're doing. So the stuckness and the second guessing yourself comes from the inability to trust that you can handle what's on the other side of either of those doors, on the East Coast or the West Coast, right? So, in order to kind of activate that momentum of things getting to work in your favor, you have to start making choices in your life. And you have to be in a place where you've developed the confidence enough to make the choices. That's the most important part. You have to have developed the confidence by starting with those tiny micro promises to yourself. And here's the other thing. Do you believe you're somebody who follows through on the things that they say they're going to do? Do you believe you're somebody who is supporting yourself and taking care of yourself? Are you too reliant on people around you? When we get too reliant on people around us, I was watching a video the other day, and this guy has I cannot think of his name for the life of me, but this guy has a TikTok channel and I think a podcast, and he does a lot of financial stuff. So he does financial audits live with these people. And so this woman did not understand how credit cards worked, and she ended up racking up a $12,000 credit card. And her parents were like, well, you're going to be moving out soon, so we just don't want you to have that debt hanging over you, and we'll take care of it. And so her parents are taking care of it, and basically had told her like, well, if you get in trouble, like we'll take care of it. And so there's something to be said about personal responsibility of when we feel confident enough to take care of the things that are ours, to face the truth within ourselves, to face the truth within our situation, that's where we reclaim our power. When we know we're capable and we got it. And so if you are a parent listening to this, I want you to consider the detriment that you can create for your child by always bailing them out. All of our decisions have a consequence, and our knowing how to handle the consequence, even if it's not favorable after, builds our trust within ourselves and builds our confidence within ourselves. So when we're able to do that, we are able to feel like, hey, you know what? Even if shit hits the fan right now, I think I'm okay. I think I've got it. I think we'll be just fucking fine over here. And that's how decisions become easier and you stop second guessing yourself. But the other part of that too is that if you don't make any time to come back in, I always make my best decisions when I'm alone. If I have a big decision to make, I need everyone to get the fuck out of my house. If I have a big decision to make, I need everybody out of my way, gone. I need to be out in the woods, maybe. I need to be in an area where I'm in my own energy and I can feel what's true and real to me. Because if you are empathic, the other part of that is that you might feel what other people want for you stronger than you feel your own energy, stronger than you feel it for yourself. So that's a caveat that a lot of people don't talk about is when you're trying to make a decision. I always joke that at a restaurant, I always like to decide what I want before I go, because if I go and I'm not decided, I'm going to be influenced by other people. I've had so many clients confirm that this is something that happens to them, right? Is that they're easily influenced by the people around them. So in order to make healthy decisions or decisions for them, they kind of have to make a decision before they're around a group of people. That's not always possible. Even if you can leave for a second and take a trip to the bathroom and just sit with that for a moment, we don't tune into ourselves enough. We don't listen to ourselves enough. And if we're not tuning in and we're not listening, then we're not knowing what our truth is to make the decision. And then we're confused because we've got all these conflicting choices and all this conflicting information coming at us. That's hard to have so many different energies and opinions and strong opinions sometimes coming at you of what is right, but only you get to decide what is right and real and true. And you cannot access your truth if you never spend any time trying to. This last part of that is that you have to believe that you're somebody that you can trust. You have to believe that you're a consistent person. You have to believe you're somebody who will follow through. If you don't believe in yourself to make decisions, or you don't feel like you're a good decision maker, or those are things that you're saying, you're going to act in accordance with who you believe you are. We did an entire identity class on this in the Comeback Club, and you're going to act in accordance with who you believe yourself to be. So if you believe yourself to be somebody who doesn't make good decisions, if you believe yourself to be somebody who has a bad picker, if you believe yourself to be somebody who just can't handle it, who's inconsistent, then that is what you'll see in your life. Our brain is no joke when it comes to using that information to decide how things get to go for us, to decide what we see, to decide what we do based on what we believe. So sometimes if we're really stuck, we have to start with that core belief too. You know what? I don't believe that I'm the most consistent person in the world, but I believe I can be a little more consistent today than I was yesterday. I don't believe that I'm the healthiest person in the world, but I think I can be, the healthier today than I was yesterday. The willingness to believe something is how we actually change our mindset. So many people come to me and say, manifestation is woo woo. I don't believe in it. I don't believe you can change your mind. I'm telling you right now, you're trying to go 0 to 60, and that's why it feels so hard. We don't have to go 0 to 60 when we're telling ourselves a new story about how things get to go for us. We don't have to buy all in that we're going to be millionaires someday if we're dirt broke. We can start to believe in that 0 to 5 instead of 0 to 60. We can start to believe that I'm a little bit better than yesterday. You know what? I'm making a little bit more money than yesterday, actually. I'm willing to believe that. I'm open and willing to believe that I can trust myself a little bit more than I did yesterday. I can trust myself a little bit more every single day. We have to work with how our brain works. And part of that is the belief in who we are and our belief in our identity. So this is your sign to work on trusting yourself, to spend time in that inner space, to get to know yourself again, to get to know what you want. Because I promise you, when you go against your intuition, and I promise you, when you go against what you want, you only hurt yourself. You hurt yourself. And this is why we have midlife crisis, guys. This right here is when we are always making decisions so we're not hurting other people's feelings, when we're always making decisions so we don't disappoint anybody, when we're always making decisions where we take our feelings about it and we shove it down and we make things harder. That is where we get to a point where we are bursting wide open and we have to tell somebody who the fuck we are and how we actually feel, because the weight and the pressure of life coming to a close feels like we wasted it. And it feels like we wasted it by not being honest and not being ourselves. So, micro promises, being willing to trust yourself, being willing to build that trust in yourself. Making a choice, again, allowing the universe to help you out. When you make a choice, everything gets to come in. That's where we see the magic of the universe. It's in that stuck space that we feel like, I don't know where I am. I don't know where to go. And there's not a fucking thing here because I'm somewhere in the hallway in between doors. If this was helpful for you, if this gave you an aha moment, please share it. Please leave a review. It's always helpful to me. It's always helpful to me. And I always appreciate every little bit of kindness that you guys throw my way. Any thoughts or feelings you have about this podcast that you share. It's always so wonderful. And I appreciate it so much. Let me know what you think and let me know what you'd like other podcast episodes to be on. I obviously am bringing in guests over the next couple months, but it's so exciting for me to get to do this for you. So I will catch you next week. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week.